Oh, what's going on? Okay, guys, it looks like it worked. I was trying for like 10 minutes. YouTube wouldn't let me through. I think they mad. They don't want us to win out here, but I'm about to launch up Facebook and we're going to get it cracking today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being patient as well. So, what's going on, Facebook? We got the YouTube, we got the Facebook. I'm double, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about Nick Cannon today. He got fired from Viacom. He's beefing with them right now. And I've heard a lot of people on both sides. Some people defend him, say it's real talk. He's keeping it 100. Some people are saying free speech. I don't agree with it, but that's free speech. You got other people crying racism, saying that's racist. It hurt my feelings. He's mean. It's not right. We're going to not ruin the entire live stream. I don't want to say it all right now, but we're going to keep it really real. I've heard a lot of takes, but not one that I fully agree with. So let's get it popping. Thank you for being here, Facebook. Thank you for being here, YouTube. As always, we're going to wait a few minutes for people to get in. We're going to drink some double filtered water. You see that, the glass case. They can't stop us. They don't want us to win. They say, Anomaly, how come you're having so much fun? Are you on drugs? I said, no, it's just that double filtered water. It's what they don't want you to do. They want you to drink their trash sodas and eat their horrible products. And then they're going to turn around and tell you they're helping their health. Yeah, right. We see through it. Let's get some shout outs. Let's get it popping. Then we'll start. Jason said it's hate speech. No, Jason, let's not go that route. I mean, you could think what you want, but the word hate speech is a trap. There's a lot of words that are trapped. Let's not get into using the jargon of the censors. If we use the language of the censors, we're going to censor ourselves. Let's dissect arguments. Let's keep it real. Let's be fair. Let's not allow liars to lie. However, you can't just use these words, and we'll get into it in a second. You could do whatever you want, but hold on, you got me heated. What's up, Frank? What's up, D? We got Enki. We got Catherine Gordon. God bless you. We got Michael. Hold on, I got something in my eye. Oh my gosh, I think I got the Rona in my eye. All right, I got it out. Sorry. I listened to Dr. Burke. She said, make sure if the Rona gets in your eye, get it out, wear a mask. I'm on it. Gainesville, Florida in the house. God bless you. We got Oklahoma in the house. God bless you. Alaska in the house. God bless. New Zealand in the house. God bless. Worldwide, Mr. Worldwide, young Pitbull. We got Stinky Scrublet on YouTube. Interesting name. Thank you for being here. Andrea, God bless you. Josiah, Kelly, what's going on? Houston, Texas in the house. Brenda, God bless you. We got Ohio in the house. God bless. Dawn in the house. God bless. Jasper, Texas. Kentucky in the house. Bronx in the house. Ontario, Canada. We sound like, what are those people? 450, the people that auction stuff. Macedonia. I don't even know exactly where that is. North Carolina, God bless. We got Nashville, Tennessee, San Diego in the house, Santa Cruz, California, Missouri, 545, 55. Who wants the cabinet? All right, let's calm down. Vic Ramirez said, I don't agree with everything you say, but I'm a huge fan. Well, I appreciate that, Vic. God bless you. Sounds like you have a mind of your own. You're welcome here. Thank you for being here. Mike. All right, we got Terry in the house. Thank you for this super star chat on Facebook. Appreciate you. Minneapolis in the house. Stay safe out there. Oklahoma, Louisiana, Palm Springs, everywhere. Where aren't we? They're starting to get nervous. That's why they don't want me to go live. They're like, where are those people who watch Anomaly? It's everywhere. It's too big. I just check I don't even like to talk about my stats because I feel like the more I talk about them, the more they're going to there's going to be these fake organizations that are like, oh my God, why is he more popular than our people? But I just checked my Facebook stats yesterday over the last 3 years. And I'm proud to announce, not too prideful, that's a sin, but over 500 million views. I'm nearing 600 million views, and that's only on Facebook. So we're going to hit 1 billion eventually, and it's going to be fantastic considering there's only 7 billion people on the planet. Pretty crazy stuff, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Thank you guys for watching and sharing the videos. We got about 4,000 on Facebook. We got 419 on YouTube. That's big. All right, so let's get into it. I want to start real quick. I'm gonna go to my Twitter account. If you follow me on Twitter, I apologize. I get a little more edgy on Twitter. It's it seems like that type of platform. I try to be as edgy as possible, so in 5 years they could cancel me over something I said now. I like to get ahead of the cancel culture. It's like, let me say something now that I'll get canceled for in the future. But here's a tweet I put out earlier, and I just wanted to write it down. It's like a note. Regardless, we're going to get into what Nick Cannon said, but I truly believe this. I believe in free speech. The words racist, sexist, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic are overused. These words shut down discussion, It's a lazy way to present yourself like you have the moral high ground. So don't get me wrong. I don't agree with hateful people. I don't agree with every person that says something, that's mean or off-putting or nasty. But you have to understand, when it comes to censorship, when it comes to free speech, there are no more overused words than racist, sexist, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic. So I try not to use them because it's really, at best, it's a lazy way to win an argument. If I'm going to tell you why I disagree with Nick Cannon in a second, but if I just say, it's racist, what does that mean? What doesn't it mean? Rather, it means your toilet paper is racist, posting a black square is racist, not posting a black square is racist, going out in the streets are racist, not going out in the streets racist, disagreeing with the liberals racist, disagreeing with this person's a racist, Candace Owens a racist. Racist almost doesn't mean anything anymore because that word has been overused, and it was designed at the beginning. I can't tell you its exact origins, but I'm guessing it was a lazy way out from the jump instead of being able to intellectually debate. Why is that mean? Why is that wrong? Why is that true? Why is that false? It's a way just to say, I'm better than you. You're the racist and I'm not. So we got to stop using these words. I know people want to say it's racist. Someone said it's hate speech. It's a lazy way at best to win an argument. At worst, it's a way to censorship when you're wrong. Because before I get into what Nick Cannon said, you have to understand the mind and the agenda of the censors. And you could say, oh, no, that's crazy. It's not what's happening. But psychologically, you have to understand that in order to shut down speech, they're using those words. And when it comes to men and women, some women do things that men do. Some men do some things that women do. Some people nowadays even switch genders and go reverse. But the point I'm getting to is there's certain characteristics between men and women on average that are different. For instance, in women, they carry babies. In men, on average, they tend to be physically stronger. You compare the WNBA to the NBA, it's night and day as far as who's stronger and better at the sport performing. So just because women and men are different, if you point out one of those differences, they'll say you're sexist. If you point out the difference between Christianity and Islam, or Islam and Judaism, or Judaism and Christianity, or whatever, you point out the differences of religion, they'll call you an anti-Semite. They'll call you an Islamophobe or a xenophobe. They have a word for everything. So these words are designed to shut down discussion. And regardless of what people want to say, before we get into what Nick Cannon talked about, there are differences in ethnicities on average. My name is Anomaly, which means unlike the normal. An anomaly is on a chart. You have the average and the anomaly is way out in left field. That's why I named myself that. So I come from a mindset of I'm not my average. I'm not my demographic. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not the net sum of what people who look like me or who, study what I study are. However, I don't see every statistic, every pattern or trend that you see within certain demographics. I don't see it as racist. I don't see it as sexist. I don't see it as xenophobic. I think those words are massively, wildly overused. So when it comes to Nick Cannon, I don't do what other right wingers do, which is just scream racist. It's a lazy way to win the argument, and it's been overused. And if you notice, a lot of people say 8 times out of 10 when they say racist, they don't know how to actually defend themselves. So now that we've got to that, that's the main point I want to get across. Let's get to what he actually said, because I actually don't agree, but I do agree with his right to say that and think that, because if he can't say that and think that, and they keep closing the realms of what you can say and think, that's how they control you until everybody says and thinks the same thing. That doesn't mean it's true. It means they destroyed everybody who disagreed with them. So I don't agree with what Nick said. I love his right to say it. What did Nick Cannon say? We'll go right to the transcript. This is the part that to be honest, I have a pretty big sense of humor. I obviously don't agree with it. It's somewhat derogatory towards my ethnicity, but I kind of just laughed. I don't know. Maybe I have a weird sense of humor, but here's what he said. And I made a comment back to him. We'll get into it in a second. Here's the part that I read. I'm just going to read right from the transcript. It says, when you have a person that has a lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got power, they had the lack of compassion. Melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That's what we call it. We're soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it or are a little, are going to say this is carefully. I'm going to say this carefully, a little less. And where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion, or where they were sent to the mountain of Caucasus when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun started to deteriorate them. So You see, I can't even read it without laughing. I can't say I'm mad or angry at it. I think anger is weakness in general. It's like an emotional weakness. However, it sounds like he just got hyped off a Farrakhan video. Someone has a boy that's gone through that same thing. They watch one Farrakhan video and they get too hyped, and he looked like he was excited, like he was rambling this stuff off, and then his boy was sitting there, like you can see his face. He was like, "Yo, Nick, I don't know about all this stuff." Like, it was like, it's like a meme. You get the meme. It's like when your boy watches one Farrakhan video. But jokes aside, he tried to make the argument that white people with lack of melanin have less compassion because they came from the mountain of Caucasus. Personally, I find it hilarious. I can't even stop thinking about it without laughing. It reminds me of when someone said to me, Anomaly, Farrakhan once said that white people came from laboratories, and like they were like, doesn't that make you mad? And I was like, not even remotely. I was like, that's hilarious. That's so funny. I don't think I came from a lab, but I think Farrakhan has the right to say that. And why would that make me mad? Like, I am so mad at him that he thinks I came from a laboratory. I'm going to show him that I'm not a laboratory, man. It's like, who cares? I couldn't possibly care less. But anyway, getting back, he said some other off-putting stuff that I don't agree with. And he actually got fired from Viacom for anti-Semitism. That's the big cause they got him on, not the anti-white saying that you're a lesser subhuman, basically. It was his anti-Semitic comments. Shocking. I'm going to read from AP, Associated Press. They said that the media giant Viacom put out this statement. Viacom CBS condemns bigotry of any kind, and we categorically denounce all forms of anti-Semitism, the company said Tuesday. I guess we have spoken to Nick Cannon on his podcast of Cannon's Class on YouTube, which promoted hateful speech and spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, Viacom said. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism, and we are terminating our relationship with him. So I tried to tell Nick last week. I tweeted it, and I think I deleted it, but I told him, because I saw him saying some stuff. I was like, Nick, jokes aside, but like, you better stick to the white stuff, because if you could be hateful towards white people and keep your job. Once you start getting into the Jewish category, that's where it starts getting fuzzy. They're going to fire you. So if he would have just stuck to the anti-white stuff, he probably still has his job. But the fact that he mentioned Jewish people in his little rant, that's not popular. They want you to stick to the anti-white stuff. That's kind of the script. But, that aside, I don't agree with either of it. I'm just saying, he made the mistake that others do. You stick to the white stuff, you get a Nike or a Disney deal, you get into the Jewish category, your job's not going to stay very long. On that note, he also said, let me see. I guess he said that they had to be savages. He said white, Jewish people, and Europeans were savages. And basically, I think there was one point where he said, I can't be anti-Semitic because I'm one of the Semites. Nick got hyped off the Black Israelite video. He watched one Farrakhan video. He stood on the corner, got yelled at by some Black Hebrew Israelites, and then he was just yoked off all that information and just went wild. Jokes aside, I want to say this. I don't think personally, as somebody who's mostly a majority white European, I don't think white people are inferior. I don't think white people lack compassion. Instead of calling Nick racist, instead of calling him anti-Semitic, instead of trying to cancel him, I retweeted his video and I said, Nick, I hear you, brother. I said, why don't you go to the south side of Chicago with all your jewelry on, with no, law enforcement or security, and see how compassionate they are for you, brother. So, if he goes to south side of Chicago, which is almost definitely a majority, melanated area, I doubt they would be very compassionate towards him. But, to each his, I thought that was a funny response to not call him racist. But jokes aside, there's a reason that I really stand up for his free speech, although I vehemently disagree with everything that he's saying. You notice what I just did. I debunked his argument. I disagreed with him. I said that I think it's categorically false, and I showed why, and I said why I think it's categorically false. You don't need to use the term racist and anti-Semitic. It's a lazy way to pretend like you won the argument. There's better, funnier, more accurate, more intelligent ways to win an argument, which is not using those words and just going at the core of what he said. On that note, I do want to say the reason I really defend his free speech, although I disagree with most of everything that he said, is I've seen this backfire on other people as well, and I don't agree with it. For instance, Nick wants to make the argument that white people, Europeans, and Jewish people are inferior. I don't agree with it. However, I want to hear why he thinks that. He said he thinks because we came from the mountain of Caucasus. In my opinion, he has the right to say that, and I have the right to defend why I don't think I'm, lack of compassion because I came from the mountain of Caucasus. That's where the debate is to me. I don't agree, but I want his right to say that. Similarly, there's people who say the exact opposite of what Nick says, and they get censored as well. For example, Stefan Molyneux recently had his YouTube channel and his Twitter, I believe, deleted, maybe just his YouTube channel, but I'm not even a huge Stefan Molyneux fan. Personally, I think he's pretty boring and long-winded, and he just talks to himself for hours, which is fine. I guess that's what I do. But I'm not a big Stefan Molyneux fan. In fact, he tried to say I look like a girl and compare me to a Game of Thrones character because I have long hair. Him, on the other hand, has no hair, and he was getting ratioed on Twitter. Everyone was like, all these girls were like, Anomaly's cute, Anomaly's hot. Like, what are you talking about? So the joke was on him. But anyway, jokes aside, I just thought that was funny. I'm not a huge Molyneux fan. However, just like Nick Cannon, who maybe attacks my ethnicity, I give him the right to say that, and I think I should be able to intellectually debunk what he says. I give Stefan Molyneux to say the opposite. What Stefan Molyneux says is what a lot of people say, and there's actually books on it. It's not my scene. It's not my zone. It's not my interest, so I don't talk about it much. But there's an argument being made by people like Stefan that Sub-Saharan Africans, on average, have a lower IQ. This was also made by Crick, or one of the Watson and Crick guys who discovered DNA. They did a whole thing and just completely lost their status in the media because they tried to make a scientific argument for why the average IQ from certain areas were lower and average IQs in Asia and certain areas were higher. It's not my argument. It's not something that I've looked into. I haven't done the research. I don't really care to. It's not my scene particularly. However, just like Nick Cannon says the opposite, it says white people are inferior. I think he has the free speech to do that, even though I don't agree. And Stefan Molyneux, I think, has the free speech to say that. And Nick and Stefan should get in a room and debate about it, and to each their own. I don't really agree with either of them. However, I think they have the right to say it. And I know that's a popular stance, or an unpopular stance now, because we're losing the right to say anything. And they exaggerate with these words, racist, sexist, and anti-Semitism, to the point where you literally can't say anything. Nothing is real anymore. Even if you're a left winger like Barry Weiss, it's like you're too right wing, even though you're not right. These people never stop. You give them the power to shut down speech, and they never stop. And here's a big reason why I don't want to shut down Stefan Molyneux or Nick Cannon. Because if you look at the agenda of intersectionality, what they're saying is a lie. We're all equal in the sense of we all bleed red blood. We all deserve our God-given rights. We all deserve people looking out for us. We all deserve a good life. We all deserve the opportunity to thrive and not be discriminated against unfairly. I believe we all deserve that. But when it comes to intersectionality, they try to say there's no difference between men and women. And there is a difference between a man and a woman. And if you don't describe that, you're going to mislead people. For instance, on average, not all, but if you give men and women on average the freedom to do whatever they want in this world, they're going to gravitate towards different things naturally. That's their nature, to gravitate towards different jobs and careers and mindsets, because there's a different structure of a man and a woman, starting with the uterus. And, the debate goes there. You could talk to J.K. Rowling and the SJWs if you want to talk about who can make a kid. But to simplify it, you get what I'm saying. You have these genders, you have differences. It's okay. It's a beautiful thing. And if you don't look at the differences that people have, it's actually very, very harmful. And that's what you see right now going on in this country. You got men and women lost. They're trying to, subvert and destroy everything. So people are lost, confused. They're attacking the family unit. They don't know what they want. They're out in the streets burning stuff because they're got a bad mindset. It has real consequences when you don't point out the differences in gender. And the same thing with ethnicity. We all deserve the chance to live freely and successfully, but you'd be lying to yourself if you said the Irishman and the African, the Black African, because I know there's some white Africans as well, to say they need the same amount of sunlight. Like Nick Cannon was talking about melanin. I don't agree with what he's talking about compassion-wise. I think that's outlandish. However, there is a difference in melanin, and there is a difference in nutrients and sunlight and intake of certain things that you should do. So if you say we're exactly the same, it's actually not true. The Irishman will find out very quickly that he's not black when he goes in the sun. And the African will find out very quickly that he's not Irish if he lives in Minneapolis in the winter. So you get there are differences. Same with, my nose and my facial features. It comes from my family, and there's differences on average between different ethnicities, and that's okay. It's a beautiful thing. We're all different. We're all unique, and you're not the net sum of who your parents were. You can be an individual. You can come out and do whatever you want in this world, and that's what I do. However, we're allowed to say that there's differences between the genders. We're allowed to say that there's differences in physical features and certain ethnicities and, intake of certain things. However, that's where the line stops. And they say you're not allowed to look at intellect or mindset or cultural differences or, nature versus nurture differences. To me, it's not offensive. I don't care that Nick Cannon thinks I'm a subhuman. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I'm not self-conscious. And I think what he said is like a lot of white people are self-conscious. I agree with him that some people are, but some people aren't. And same goes with, his ethnicity, where a lot of the most angry people are actually just, internally have issues and they're trying to blame it externally. So that goes with both ethnicities, in my opinion. And that's okay to say. I don't have to agree with it, but I'm not offended by what he said because I'm confident and comfortable in myself and who I am, my skin color, and my ability to intellectually disagree with him. So I think it's overrated to call this racist, even though I understand why you would say that. And even the word, they're calling him a black supremacist. Technically, according to the word supremacist, you would be dictionary-wise correct. But the term supremacist has obviously a horrible connotation on this planet. But, supremacist comes from supreme, and you could look up what the word supreme means. Michael Jordan was supreme at basketball. It's not a racist thing to say that. He was phenomenal and he deserves that status. It just, to be honest, it doesn't offend me that people think they're better or they're worse, or I don't know. That doesn't affect my day to day. That doesn't affect how I feel. I don't think people are better or worse, but if you want to feel that way, Nick Cannon, it doesn't bother me. If, Stefan Molyneux wants to, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. In order to disagree with them, I have to come with facts and statistics and a real analysis to show them why they're right and wrong. I don't get to just sit here and cross my arms and say, you're racist, Nick Cannon, and I'm a better person than you because I'm just a better person because I said the word racist. That's such a lazy, weak argument. And I think it really holds us back because there are actual differences that we need to analyze and understand. Because if you put a bunch of Africans in Minneapolis and they don't get enough sunlight, or you put a bunch of Irishmen in Florida and they don't get enough sunscreen, you're going to cause real physical problems to people. And if there can be differences in physical features, I'm interested in the nature versus nurture aspect of everything. For instance, with the Asian culture, some people say that they have very high IQs on average. I'm not sure if I believe that or not, but why would I stop somebody from saying that? What does that give me the moral or intellectual high ground to say, how dare you say Asians are smarter than people? Why should I do that? Why should I stop them? Is it nature or is it nurture? I don't know. I think a lot of it is nurture. If you don't understand nature versus nurture, it means how much is genetic and given, how much of it is a work ethic. For instance, when a lot of Asian cultures come to America, they work incredibly hard. They make their kid play violin, read, do all this stuff. My mom did similar stuff, not violin, but she made me read and work hard. That's why I'm successful. If my mom wasn't a good mom, which she was fantastic, I wouldn't be the guy I am today. I don't think so. She was a single mother who really pushed me to go get a good education and, read and do things that are important. So how much of it is nature with me? How much of it is nurture? I don't know, but I think both of them play a role. Genetics play a role and the nurture from your parents play a role. And same with the Asian culture. How much of it is genetic and they're just super geniuses from birth? And how much of it is their parents have good culture and mindset where they teach their kids the right thing and how to, study and learn and be smart and appreciate America and go out and go for themselves. How much of it is that and how much, I don't know, but who am I to shut down Stefan Molyneux? Who am I to shut down Nick Cannon? Nobody. And Watson or Crick from Watson and Crick, one of them who discovered the double helix, and they have a Nobel Prize for it. they lost like everything because they started making, genetic discoveries like this. And some of them were unpopular. They were saying that, one of them was that Latin people have more sex because they live in hotter temperatures. And they were like, oh, that's racist. It's like, that's racist. I mean, I don't know a single Latin person that would be offended by that. Like, oh, the hotter temperature makes them have sex more. What Latin person would be offended by that? I mean, it's an observation that's not. But then also he talked about certain parts of Africa, and he made very controversial statements, and he got called a racist for it. However, that word doesn't disprove him wrong. You have to go in and disprove it with intellect. So that's the point I'm trying to get to. I'm going to read some comments after this, but I disagree with what Nick said. He got fired for anti-Semitism, not anti-whiteism, which there's no word for because that's what the media actually really promotes if you get down to the core of what they allow and what they don't allow. And in general, I just think the word anti-Semitism, racist in this context, although it may be the most fitting time to use it for conservatives, I think it's a cheap and weak way to get out of an argument. There's a better way to prove stuff. And especially with the word racist, it's overused. You can't say anything. You can't talk about statistics, fact, observable reality. None of that can be spoken about anymore because they'll call it racist. And same with anti-Semitic. You can compliment somebody Jewish for something that they just said they did themselves, and they'll call you anti-Semitic for it. For instance, I'll give you an example. LeBron James said that, he was like bad-mouthing white owners and nobody cared. He said the white owners are like slave masters or something like that. No one cared. And then he rapped a 21 Savage lyric and he said something along the lines of, I'm getting Jewish money, everything's kosher, which is actually a compliment. It's not a derogatory line, in my opinion. It's saying, I'm doing well like a Jewish person. Not all Jewish people are rich. Not everyone's doing well, but is that really a diss? Like, I'm getting Nigerian money, everything's kosher. I'm getting Asian money. It's more of a compliment towards your culture. Like, you're doing well in this world. He apologized for that. Why did he apologize for that? Because anytime you go near that realm, even if you're complimenting, they'll shut you down. But anytime you talk about white, it's free range to say and do whatever you want. So all I'm asking for is equality. I'm not going to sit here and play this game that other right-wingers are and say, oh, they all claim like they're pro-free speech. And the second that it comes out, oh, pass a law, this, that. It's like none of that nonsense. Let's talk about what they said. Let's debunk it. Let's laugh about it, and have a sense of humor for the most part. And then get to the core of it. Because these words, once again, and then I'm going to read comments, racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, conspiracy theory, they're all used to shut down discussion. You can't just call something a conspiracy and not explain why it's wrong. Russiagate, in my opinion, is a false conspiracy theory. You talked about it for 3 years on Rachel Maddow, CNN. Every single celebrity talked about how Trump worked with Russia. In the end, they had no proof. I thought it was a conspiracy theory the whole time. But I don't just sit here and say, that's a conspiracy theory. I won. Look, everyone's gone. I censored everyone. I'm the last standing person. Everything I say is real. They're fakes. That was a false conspiracy theory in my perspective. But I never just sat there and said, that's a false conspiracy. I explained why. I did 20 videos that are 10 minutes long, explaining, showing you the evidence and the facts to show you why it was incorrect. I can't just sit here and say, conspiracy theory. But that's what the media does. They use all these words to shut down discussion. And when it comes to Nick Cannon, most of the right-wingers will hop on that train and just say it's racist or anti-Semitic. It's the wrong strategy. These words are massively overused. And in general, you should be able to prove why it's hateful, why it's wrong, why it's, in your opinion, dangerous, why, all of these things are true. But you should be able to explain that without using those words. And if you keep playing the games of the censors, you're going to keep getting censored. And I think people, before I end, are understanding that this year, because last year I tried to show you, listen, it's all love on my channel. I have love and appreciation for everybody, even if we do different things. I'm not a hater. I'm one of the, I try to be thoughtful and treat others like I want to be treated. But I tried to tell you guys last year, a lot of these Republicans, a lot of these conservatives, a lot of these free speech, campus culture warriors, not only are they horrible at culture, they're also not really free speech. Trump is passing speech laws. Ron DeSantis passed speech laws. No Republicans disagreed with it. All of these campus warriors justified it. And then they shut people and blacklisted them for their events for racist and homophobic comments that they didn't want to debate because they couldn't debate, because anybody that can debate it doesn't need to just silence it. It's not hard to debunk a bad argument. But I told you that this was happening. No one wanted to listen. And then this year, you see what's happening. Oh, the Republicans aren't fighting for us. because you don't know who they are. You're not following. You're emotionally just getting angry at AOC and Ilhan Omar, Nick Cannon. You can disagree with them. I disagree with all of them, but don't get emotionally angry. When you get emotionally angry, you become irrational. When you become irrational, you're eventually going to lie. When you become a liar, you don't have the moral or, honest high ground anymore. And that's what you want in this world. You don't want to play, oh, let's censor them because they censor us. Let's destroy them because they destroy us. That's fighting fire with fire. That's how you lose. And that's why conservatives are losing everything. I want to give one shout out, and then I'm really going to end to my brother from another mother, Bryson Gray. Bryson Gray is a fantastic rapper, and I'm critical of some people because, not everybody's really got the sauce, but Bryson has the sauce. And I've recognized that from the beginning. He placed on the Billboard charts with a MAGA album. That's incredible, but he didn't play the victim. He didn't say left-wingers are winning the culture war and we don't know what to do or they're censoring. He just put out a fantastic rap album. He's a fantastic rapper, and he made the Billboard charts. That's what you have to do. You don't have to, even complain about liberals just in culture and we can't figure out, make great art. Most conservatives don't make great art, but that's what happens when you do. When you do good work, when you make great art, when you make great music or movies, you're going to win. That's the way to win. So just like the left can't play the victim, we can't play the victim either. And the academic institutions, why are they controlling most of that? Why do they have the media? Why do they have this? It's not their fault. It's our fault, your fault for either allowing it or not building or creating something that can compete with it. So I want to just use that as inspiration for everybody that you can make the Billboard charts by yourself with no label or management or anything with a MAGA album if you make good enough stuff and people will listen to it. So that's the chat for today. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I appreciate you. And let's see what y'all are talking about in the comment sections. I think this was pretty accurate. And if you watch this on Facebook and you want to watch it in the future, I'll probably leave it up on this channel for like the next couple of days. I might permanently leave it up, but usually my live streams, I take them down and put them just on BitChute and YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube. And in general, I like to keep it clean and all the short videos that are more viral. So let's see what y'all are talking. Oh, Bryson's in the chat. God bless you, Bryson. Man, he's out here. Yeah, stream his music, MAGA season. Put it up the charts. It needs to go up. It's a good day. It's a beautiful thing. If people keep growing and making moves and you have nurses, doctors, musicians, every aspect, just keeping it real, doing great work and standing up in truth. You don't have to become the censor to beat the left. You don't have to lie and play their game. Just stand in truth, stand in God, stand in reality, stand in, that's the way to win. You don't have to call Nick Cannon a racist, sexist, xenophobe. Just say it's not true. I personally think it's hilarious. However, I do see that it's offensive and the double standards are raging. But you see, I just, disagreed with him without doing that. Oh, thanks, Bryson. No problem. It's real. All right, let's answer some questions. Thank you, Bryson. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Natalie. Someone said, don't be that person standing in the streets screaming during a riot. Accurate. I guess I agree with that. Someone said, who is in the helmet video song? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah, Bryson's on my YouTube. I got it on YouTube and I got it on Facebook. He's on the YouTubes. Someone said I bought me a space helmet. It's a fun play. If they're gonna turn this into clown world, you might as well have fun with it. I got my helmet right there. I haven't worn it out yet, but I'm going to. LL Lewis said, yes, it's our fault. We're not creative. It's not your fault, but everyone's not, there's type A and type B. Just because if you're not a creative person or you're not an artistic person, I'm not telling you to go be a rapper or a musician, but there's probably something that you do in life. There's probably, you have your own passion. Just be great at your passion. You don't have to become an artist, but there are, people who are conservative who do art. In general, if you're not, if 90% of conservatives aren't good at art, that's not the liberals' fault for being good at art. I don't know what to tell you. That's the victim mindset. It's like, I can't, luckily there's a lot of people that are new wave conservatives that are good at art so they can, carry the, whatever for everybody else. But you can't play it's like, oh, I'm not as good at basketball as them. Like I never thought with hip hop or basketball, people would feel bad for me because I was in the minority. I knew when I started rapping, I was like, no one's going to think I should rap. I have to be good. I have to be a good freestyler. I would impress people at parties. They'd look at me and like, this kid, there's no way he should be rapping. But then you earn your respect by being great. You know that, and same with Herman Cain. He talked about that in the latest documentary. It's called Uncle Tom. That's the name of the documentary. He said, you know, I just kept working hard and getting my degrees, and people just started respecting me. And people that never knew, you know, they were like, I've never met someone like you. That's how you earn it. You just go out. You got to be great. I can't. I'm the only one in the cipher who's white. It's like, no, that's not an excuse. I have to be 10 times as good because I don't, you know, or else I shouldn't be there. It's not like everyone needs to bow down to me because I'm not as good. I got to get better. Got to work harder. Someone said, was it racism against whites or was it anti-Semitism? I mean, you could read his whole statement. You could find parts of it that you could categorize as either, but I don't like to use those words too much because it's overused. It's a lazy way to win the argument. Racism, I win. Anti-Semitic, I win. What exactly did he say? You could listen to the whole thing. He said he basically thinks he's, you know, people of melanin are racially superior. I'm not offended by it. I think I disagree, but, you know, I just don't think he should get canceled or shut down his discussion. Just like Roseanne shouldn't have been canceled. Bring Roseanne back, you know. What Roseanne said was like a rapid fire tweet that wasn't even fully explained. I mean, he went into depth. You know, let my girl Roseanne have her show back if we're going to let Nick. Give everyone their jobs back, and let's just stop complaining about everything. Thank you, Sean. He said, been following you for a while. I appreciate it. Thoughts on the Hong Kong executive order? Courtney said, I don't know. I can't lie. I'm grateful and appreciative to be in America, but watching Pompeo and Trump complain about Iran and Hong Kong, I can't really care that much because I'm watching my own country. Like our statues are being defiled. Our churches were not allowed to worship in a free country. And you're allowed to go to Walmart or pick up Amazon packages. I could care less about Hong Kong and Iran. I'm not trying to be selfish, but it's like our leaders should stand up for our country. Trump's supposed to be America first. Pompeo should be America first. Just like Gavin Newsom should be California first. And Eric Garcetti should be LA first. That's their job. So I could care less about Hong Kong. I'm sure it could be slightly worse there, but we're about to get Hong Kong here if we haven't already. And none of the Republicans seem to care that much about it. But let's go. Someone said he said all whites hate and fear black people. Yeah, it's not true. It's completely false, but I don't need to call it racist. I just think it's a bad analysis. And, you know, if he thinks that, he should be allowed to think that. And I think in general, the question for Nick is, if you really think that way, if you really think that about all whites, if you really think that people with more melanin have more compassion, if you think that way, where do you want to go? Because there's an entire, and I'm not saying he has to go there, but there's an entire continent that's a majority melanated. And also there's, you know, communities that are entirely melanated. For instance, you know, communities that he probably doesn't live in. So it's like there's plenty of neighborhoods in America that are 80, 90, 95% melanated. Does he want to live there? Does he want to go somewhere where it's 100% melanin? Like these are options that he has. I'm not going to call him racist. Like, what do you want, bro? You want a place where it's just, because if I felt that way, if I felt that white people hated everybody, I wouldn't want to live around them. You know, I like, just to be honest, if I was black and I was like, man, white people hate me by birth or something, then why would, you know, he seems to have no problem making millions of dollars in a, you know, majority white society and, you know, marrying Mariah Carey, who's not black. That doesn't seem to be a problem with them, but you know, I'm not going to call him racist. It's just like, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What's your solution? I think that's a fair way to go at it. It's like, you know, I don't know. I want to live around people with high content of character. You know, I want to live around people that keep the neighborhood clean and safe and nice. And I could really care what ethnicity they are, but to each their own. You know, if that's how he feels, why not act on it? I don't see the problem. Someone said, what about the other person kicked off MTV? I can't follow cancel culture. They're doing too much all the way around. Like everyone's canceled. You can't even tell, let alone be wrong. In my opinion, Nick Cannon's completely wrong. Not only can you not be wrong, you can't be right. Sometimes you're right. You're 100% right, and they still cancel you. So it's like, at least Nick was wrong. I still don't think he should be canceled, but I don't know. I just can't agree with the canceling of all these people. I can't agree with just the calling them a word and then saying you won the argument. It makes no sense to me. Ricky said, Anomaly, what are your thoughts on the pedophilia scandal on the horizon? I hope that Ghislaine, or however you say her name, I hope that she snitches on everybody. I mean, it sounds, from what I'm hearing and what I'm watching, it sounds pretty promising. It sounds like she thinks that, she thought she would be safe in New Hampshire or get a good trial. I hope they give her a plea deal. I mean, I know a lot of people are trying to say she doesn't deserve any sort of, she doesn't deserve, she deserves jail for life or whatever. I understand that. I understand she's probably done some bad stuff, although innocent until proven guilty. That's the American system. To me, it would be worth it. I'm not saying she should go free, but if she could snitch on everyone, I'm not talking about one person. If she could snitch on every single person and we could finally know every single person that was involved in what's probably much, much darker than the average person imagines and much, much more widespread than the average person imagines, I think it would be worth it to give her a plea deal and snitch on everybody. So my thoughts on it, I hope she snitches on everyone, and I hope justice is served, because that's one of the biggest elephants in the room that nobody wants to talk about, which is human trafficking. And you could read Forbes articles talking about what a profitable business it is. So this is why these words are bad. I'll give you an example with that. Anytime someone talks about it, they just say conspiracy or conspiracy theory, and they end it. Well, that's a conspiracy. Well, that's a conspiracy theory. Don't get me wrong. A lot of the people who talk about this stuff, they're not very accurate. They're wild with their accusations, and they don't focus on being accurate as much as they probably should. However, just calling it a conspiracy theory doesn't prove that they're wrong. It just shuts the discussion down. That's why these words, racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, whatever, they got a new one now, conspiracy theory, they're all tools of the censor. They're all ways to win the argument without really winning the argument. So what are my thoughts on it? It's obviously real. It's questionable about who's involved, but if anybody on the planet knows about it, it's Ghislaine Maxwell. So God only knows if she's snitching as much as, a lot of people think they are, but she could bring down the house of cards. That seems pretty obvious. Let's see. Did you hear about China dealing with major flooding and 5 earthquakes? No, I didn't hear about that. So much going on in the world. It's wild times. What about Trump circumventing the CDC? Yeah, I don't know exactly what Trump's doing, but I know that he called them out recently. But yeah, I don't know. I can't. I think Trump realized the swamp is bigger than he thought. I think he thought it was pretty big, and he realized that it was enormous, and it spans across multiple places of work. So he's doing his part. I don't know. Maybe he's not doing enough or doing enough to some people, but I think he realized the swamp is pretty huge. I'm going to read the super chat. Thank you, brother. He said, Brando said, in their simplest form, American liberalism means change and conservatism means tradition. Too much change can destabilize a society. Not moving past tradition leads to stagnation. In your opinion, what do we need more of right now? It's a great question. I think change can be good, but the grass is always greener on the other side. So I think at this point, if you're going to destroy a system or destroy a building, you have to have another building built that's better. For instance, when I worked at jobs, when I had no money, I would never leave the job I was at when I didn't have enough money to pay rent. I always sucked it up, saved up enough money, and then I made a play, and then I made the radical change. But the reason it worked was because I saved up enough and had a strategy to not go broke. So with modern day liberalism and progressivism and Marxism, the big problem they're facing is they want change, they want revolution, they want destruction, but they don't have a good system. They don't have good ideas. They're not good leaders. They're not fair. They don't stand up to their own purity test. You see a lot of them being racist towards black cops and, just being hateful rather than use the word racist. Like I just said, people are overused, but being nasty and negative and, being completely unfair, I think tradition is important now as far as freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, God, family. I think those are all pretty proven things that work pretty well and definitely work better than what they're doing. If they had a fantastic system of complete peace and structure, but you see they're spiraling because they don't have that. So you get what I'm saying? I agree that conservatism's massively important now for that reason. They don't have a better system. They don't have a better strategy. They've lost their sense of being reasonable or honest. I just told you how I disagree with conservatives. I just told you how I disagree with Trump sometimes. They'll at this point, they won't even tell the truth about like Lancet studies about, they're making mistakes in Florida. Is it a mistake, or are there people who just don't want to believe that what they don't like? If you're a scientist, it's not about what you want to believe. You got to put the equation in. And if it doesn't come out, like, you got to go back to the drawing board. They don't want to do that. They're trying to destroy their opposition at all costs, even if it's at the cost of the American people, the life. So yeah, it's gone way out of control. Thank you, Free the Humans. Let's see. Someone said Anomaly knows this on YouTube. I'm reading your comment, but if you just got here, you got to go back and watch the whole video. I already talked about certain stuff. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's already been said. Portrait Mode said, are you a racist? No, absolutely not. But I just said why I think it's overused on both sides. But the word at this point has no meaning, because they've broadened what it should probably mean to meaning literally everything. If you post a black square, you're racist. If you don't post it, you're racist. If you disagree with Marxists, you're right. So the word is virtually meaningless at this point. But do I hate an entire race? Absolutely not. Do I judge an entire race, based on like completely fake or hateful things? No, I'm one of the least racist people. To me, it's very hateful to not give proper nutrients and lifestyles to inner city communities and white communities, and lie about diet and fitness and exercise and what you're feeding them and the drinks that you're giving them and all this stuff, and the lies on television and the fear mongering, which lowers your immune system. That to me is hateful. I mean, is it racist? You can decide. But I mean, if you can't listen to this entire chat and figure out where my head's at, clearly, you want to hear something else, but to each their own. Someone said soft white bread is racist. You could probably find an article that says white bread is racist, but to each their own. If that's the life that people want to live, I don't care. Let me see. Someone said, I'd love to see you do a breakdown of Yuri Bezmenov's work. I have the video posted on my Instagram page. I have it probably in a video here. I've probably done it before, but the best breakdown of Yuri Bezmenov is just find the full clip and listen to the whole thing he's saying. There's not much more that needs to be said besides what he said out of his own mouth. Yuri absolutely nailed it. And so did the guy who interviewed him. Check him out too. Someone said George W. Bush hates black people, Kanye West. They're quoting the old Kanye thing. That was funny. That was definitely funny when he said that on live TV. All right, I'll answer questions for like 10, 20 more minutes, and then I'm going to take off. We'll keep it somewhat short and sweet. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you. Have I read Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper? I have not, but I'm meaning to do so. I need to purchase it and check it out. But I've listened to him speaking, but from what I've heard, it's a fantastic book. Let's see. Someone said, when are you going to make a song about Tim Pool? I'm not making a song about Tim Pool, but it's funny you said that, because I have a song and I have a line about Tim Pool in it randomly. It's a funny line. I can't wait to say it, but I'm not making an entire song about him. But did I say that before? Or did you just randomly guess I had a Tim Pool line in my next rap song? Either way, wow, shocking. Have you done any content about Guantanamo Bay opening up? Well, no, I know yesterday or 2 days ago, they executed the first person. I guess he was like some sort of psycho white supremacist who killed somebody. But I know the death penalty is now legal again for the first time in a long time, from what I know. I'm not too sure about the Guantanamo stuff, but I've heard a lot of people covering that they think people are there, this and that. I'm not into like pretending like I know something I don't know. I'm more into sticking to what I know and can prove. So it's not really my scene. I'm not really inspired to really get into that. Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate it. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Joy. Have you read The Naked Communist by Cleon Skousen? I have not. Or Color, Communism and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. I haven't, but that's another book on my list to get. The Communism, what is it? Color, Communism and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. I want to get that book because I heard G. Edward Griffin talk about it when he was talking in the 60s or so about communism, how they're going to do it. It sounds like exactly what's going on right now. So I do want to check out that Manning Johnson book. That's a good one. Thanks for bringing that up and reminding me. Brad said, where do you get all your info? I mean, it's accumulated across my entire life. I can't really point to a specific, you'd have to be more specific about where did I get certain things. But as far as where do I get my info? Everywhere, every day, like watching podcasts, listening to interviews, reading stuff, looking at headlines and reading the articles. I don't know, everything, everywhere. Dominic said, social media is driving humanity insane. It's definitely not helping for a lot of people. There's pros and cons, but it's all internal. It's like, what do you do with it? How do even with what's going on in this country, I hate to say it, but I can't sit here and just blame the elites and say, oh my God, it's your own fault. It's our own fault. We're getting what we deserve. For 30, 40 years, people don't want to hear the truth. They think the truth is a conspiracy theory. They think anything besides what New York Times, Washington Post, or Fox News says, that's the only truth, and anything otherwise is crazy. And, there's no way that could happen. They're not reading the data. I did a whole video about where the data comes from. You're telling me that half the country and a large portion of conservatives agree with this stuff, even though they've never even read. They don't even understand where the CDC is getting their numbers. They just think that they're telling, what they think they're doing, and then they see it. It's our own fault. It's not their fault. If you're weak enough that you're going to justify shutting the American society down for 5 months and you don't even know how they're counting or where they're coming up with this data or how they keep moving the goalposts, and there's millions upon tens of millions and probably hundreds of millions of Americans that span from left wing to right wing that are justifying this because they're afraid of a virus, you deserve to get treated like this. I deserve to get treated like this because we're the net sum of, you're the net sum of my country. So this is not their fault. This is our fault. I'm not playing the victim now. If enough people want to be treated like dogs, you're going to get treated like that. I mean, you got to do something about it. So in general, I think, people want to blame the top of the pyramid because there's obviously high level people doing certain things. But if you can convince half the Republican Party, the Republican leaders, and like 95% of the liberal movement to do stuff, and they're not smart or honest enough or interested enough to figure out where the numbers are coming from and where the strategy is coming from, what else do you expect? Why would it be any different? So I said, God bless you, brother. Are you still cool with Roseanne Barr? Yeah, absolutely. Someone said, Owen Benjamin suing Patreon. Well, God bless and good luck. I mean, they've definitely, I don't know what they did to Owen specifically, but they've definitely, deleted people's things off of like really questionable reasoning. That's the thing that these companies really did a problem with. They make you sign crazy stuff, or they have like this crazy terms of service and like hate speech rules, but then they don't even follow their own rules. So for instance, if you're Patreon and you have a set of rules and you say, this is what it is, I think with like Count Dankula or one of those guys, I don't even watch his channel, but they said you can only be fired for like what you do on here. We're not going to go looking on other sites, something along those lines. And then I believe they got mad at an old YouTube live stream out of context or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened, but these companies are notorious for not really having a rhyme or reason for what they're doing besides, political reason. And a lot of them lack, comedy. They lack humor. If you go to a comedy club, you're going to get jokes about white people. You're going to get jokes about black people. You're going to get jokes about Jewish people, from non-Jewish people. You're going to have every ethnicity making fun of each other, race, religion, and everybody laughs. And if it's not funny, people don't laugh. And that's just what comedy is. So they don't think comedy is comedy anymore. We've always known that comedy, you're allowed to be edgy. That's always been a rule until recently. So, at a certain point, these people need to calm down, because it's like, what's allowed? You look at old Chappelle skits, old Chris Rock. If Chris Rock did his police bit today, they would call him an uncle, you know what, a racist and a horrible black person because he did a sketch about police brutality. And the whole crux of the sketch, it was really funny. It was basically saying, just stop fighting back, stop resisting, and stop acting crazy. That was like the joke of the skit. And he's like, and you probably won't have much of a problem. If he did that today, are you kidding me? He even alluded to the Rodney King thing, which was pretty crazy even for that time. So if they did the same comedy they did today, you get called out. But it was funny. Just like if someone disagrees with me politically and they're funny, it's funny. So I don't, I can't co-sign this like cancel culture from like Patreon, YouTube, all this stuff. It's gone too far, unquestionably. So, good luck to everybody who's trying to hold them accountable. Someone said Lenny Bruce was, that was before my time. I don't know much about Lenny Bruce. I've watched a lot of George Carlin stuff though. He definitely was not only funny, but very like prophetic, very smart, ahead of his time. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Someone said Hillary goes on Comedy Central with Trevor Noah. Listen, there's funny people like Jimmy Fallon is pretty funny. Jimmy Kimmel, when he's not being a jerk, he can be pretty funny and sarcastic. Trevor Noah is not funny. That guy is like, if without a laugh track, I don't have a laugh track. I can make people laugh hysterically because I'm actually funny. I could go off the cuff. Trevor Noah with a script, he's just not a funny guy. Like Jimmy Kimmel's can be funny, although I don't like him anymore. I do think he could be funny. Like, even Sarah Silverman, I don't like her. She could be funny. Trevor Noah is just not a funny guy. I don't understand how he even gets that, but whatever. Same with like Seth Meyers. I was watching him. He used to be funny, but these people it's like, they're turning it into just like political theater. You watch Seth Meyers, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Kimmel the same night. They're all saying the same stuff. I was in a hotel room one time just watching just to see what they're talking about. They're all like, Ukraine. They made 7 Ukraine jokes. Jimmy Fallon looked like he was being held hostage. He's like, hey, Ukraine. It was like 7 Ukraine jokes in a row. It's like, bro, the first one wasn't funny. The second was, who jokes about the same? It's like a script. It's like propaganda theater. They're like, here, go. And then they say it so much, and then people just repeat it. Oh, Russia, I heard it from this. Morgan Freeman said it. They hear it everywhere, so they think it's true. Just because a million people said it doesn't mean it's true. Why is it true? They can't even say why it's true. That's why I don't like the term racist, because it's overused. You hear it so much, and then you just keep repeating it. It's like, what part of the argument made you upset? I didn't agree with Nick Cannon, but I don't need to call it racist to debunk it. It's a lazy way to act like you have the moral high ground. Someone said the Pink Panther's funny. I don't know much about that, but Blake said you're not that funny. Well, I'm not always doing jokes, but I would disagree. I think I'm hilarious, but I'm a little biased. I think I have pretty good Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon impressions and Dr. Burke's impressions, but Blake, it's not for everyone. Someone said Dave Chappelle at least made the connection between our regime change wars and police situation. Yeah, to me, his last stand-up was like very emotional and not that funny because he just seemed angry. But he's Dave Chappelle. He's one of the best comedians, and he's always been one of the realest ones. So even when Chappelle, in my opinion, is a little off, he's still better than most people. Someone said Fallon and Trevor Noah are 2 of the most unfunny people alive. Well, Jimmy Fallon at least does impressions and stuff. Like Fallon has talent. He just seems like he just like listens to whatever they say. Trevor Noah just does not seem funny to me. Like he's just very pompous and very unfunny. I think Fallon can be funny, but to each their own. Someone said, are you saying Nick Cannon was joking? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. You can watch back the video, but that's not what I'm saying. Let's see. Someone said you have made me giggle quite a few times. I'm not always funny. Some things are really serious, but when I'm trying to be funny, it's funny to some. Any new music cooking? Yeah, I have a new song I'm working on. It's very fire. Someone said, "What? Why is the left so angry?" I don't know, but there's a lot of right wing people who are angry too. Anger is like weakness. Everybody gets angry sometimes. Not everyone, but there's no reason to be angry all the time. People think anger is righteousness, but anger is like emotional hatred. And when you become angry, you become emotional and hatred, and then you become dishonest and irrational and not a nice person. So, it's not virtuous to be angry, regardless of your political stance. Dana said, "I'm 54 today. Trevor knows, not funny at all." Well, happy birthday. God bless you. Have a good 54th. Let's see. Someone said Nick Cannon was just showing his true colors. A lot of people believes what he believes. And here's the thing. Here's my biggest thing with what Nick said and what other people believe. You can't stop people from believing something by just calling them a racist. That's not going to stop Nick Cannon and millions of people from believing that. That's not, it's such a bad strategy to just call people racist. Millions of people do agree with Nick. So here's the thing. You got to come to the table with Nick and say, if you believe that, do you want to live somewhere around people that you think are compassionate? Me personally, I notice trends and patterns like everyone else, although everyone wants to pretend like they don't, but I want to live around anybody where it's safe and clean and nice. And if that tends to be a certain demographic, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, but I don't look for that. I would love an ideological, like people who want to take care of themselves. I don't care who's who. I want to live around great people. But if he really feels that way, and millions of people really feel that way, you can't just call him a racist. Oh, it disappears. The ADL calls you anti-Semitic. Oh, it doesn't go away. It only builds because more and more people start to agree with them because they're explaining themselves and you're not explaining yourselves. You just say it's a bad thing to say. No one believes this stuff anymore. So you get what I'm saying? The best way to attend rather the conversation that Nick's having is to sit at a table with him and the millions of people who think that way and say, all right, so if you really think that that's true, where do you want to be? Because clearly you don't want to be here. Or do you want to be here? Because you're making a lot of money here. Do you want to be here? Do you not want to be here? Is there a place that you would want to go around people that you think are nicer? He has the right to do that, but that's the way you achieve that situation. You can't just shoot it down. The more you shoot it down, the angrier people get, the more they pent it up because they can't say how they feel. It's a horrible strategy. Whether he's white, whether he's black, whether he's Hispanic, people feel certain ways. You can't just yell at them and get it out of them or shut them down. It grows. For instance, the ADL and the right wing, a lot of them, they just call everything anti-Semitic. It doesn't make people like Jewish people more, and it doesn't make people's argument go away. It just puts them in a corner around people who agree with them, and then it becomes an echo chamber. So they don't hear the people who are like semi-agreeing with them and semi-disagree. All they hear is people who agree with them. And a lot of people get angry because every time they try to say something, they get shut down or their PayPal gets banned. So you're building the anger, you're building the hate, you're building the anti-Semitism, you're building the racism, you're building the sexism. That's what's happening. You can't legislate or censor hate out of somebody. That's not how it works. And we used to know this. It's not a controversial opinion. Daryl Davis, who I disagree with politically, socially, I think is a fantastic person. He's got dozens of KKK members to quit because he sat down and talked to them. I know and he's a black guy. I know that sounds crazy, but it actually works better. I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme. He's a wild guy, but that type of ideology, that type of thinking, that's what works. Nick Cannon didn't just magically not think the way he still thinks exactly how he thinks, and more people agree with him now. So you can't legislate or censor hate or lies or fictional talking points out of people. That's not how it works. And everyone needs to realize that the hate's building on all sides because there's no discussion that can be had. It's ridiculous. All right, y'all get it. We got a smart crowd here. Someone said we are the #1 country to migrate to because we're not racist. I agree. People want to come here from everywhere, all over the world. And there's a reason for it. We have a fantastic economy and people are genuinely way nicer. And in regards to a lot of parts of the world, it's way safer. So there's a reason people want to go here. Someone said no one on the left wants to sit down and have discussions. Most of that's true. And here's the big trap that I've told you for a year. The left doesn't want to have discussions. It's like a downward victim oppression Olympics culture where they just want to destroy everybody and call everything racist, sexist, you're racist. They're just fighting. They're just like crabs in a bucket. Like, it's terrible. But then you go to the right wing and you have these fake leaders and these fake gatekeepers who go to campuses and they tell you, we're the bastion of free speech, but they're really not. So the left wing is losing that and the right wing is lying to you. The people who say they're the most free speech actually are just the gatekeepers of what they want you to think is conservative and what they want you to think is acceptable thought and dialogue. And a lot of what they're saying is not true. And they suppress and silence and demonize anybody from the right wing who thinks otherwise. And people from the left wing, the second they say something, instead of intellectually attacking their argument, they do exactly what they claim the left does. They call them racist, they call them anti-Semitic, and they shut them down and they put them in the corner. They think they have the moral high ground for saying that word. Those words do not make you a better person. They make you a lazy, weak, not good debater. You get what I'm saying? It is mostly the left wing, but then you get to the right wing and it's a control system. And I told people that last year. No one wants to hear it because they're emotionally attached to these gatekeepers, but you're going to find out, why is the country shut down? Why can't you speak freely? Why can't you go to church? Why are no Republicans standing up for you? I told you why last year, but you don't want to hear it. And the longer you don't want to hear it, the longer you're going to have to live like this, because this is the reality of what's going on. So just like the left needs to wake up, the right needs to wake up, because until the right wakes up, you're going to get treated like this. And it's not random. It's not just because Trump has an election. It was always going to happen. Maybe it happened quicker. Maybe it's happening longer. But this is going to happen until you break the mold of what you think is conservative or who you think is telling you the truth and go deeper and realize what's really going on, what the real ideology is pushing, who's behind it, why is it happening, and who's in place to just, make you feel like you're doing something and really, lead you towards the same path. That's the wisdom for today. Let's keep it moving. And then I'm gonna leave in like 5 or 10 minutes. God bless you guys. I appreciate you for being here. And it was a fantastic day. I think we nailed it. But once again, I am biased because I am myself. So, someone said, just wear it, save grandma. Someone said Roseanne was canceled too. Yeah, I mentioned her other hashtag free Roseanne. Roseanne should have 5 shows on television and one of them would be number 1. Imagine if both parties could try to come to the common ground. Yeah, both parties, all ideologies, it's really possible. There's people who do that too. There's like heavy duty Muslims and Christians who come and sit and have discussions and it's fine. I did that. I proved people last week I could do that. It's still on YouTube. I think I might have deleted it from Facebook, maybe not. But it was a Christian, my Muslim friend, and my Orthodox Jewish friend. And we had a chat and nobody's a snowflake. So it went fantastically because we're not liars and we're not like emotional babies about stuff and we're not angry. So that's the way it works. You can find common ground, and sometimes finding common ground is acknowledging there's differences and figuring out, like if Nick Cannon feels that way, he's got to figure out what society he wants to live in. Maybe it's not this one and vice versa. So it's okay to point out differences in ideologies. You can't just ignore it and call everyone mean names. Like there is a difference between Islam and Christianity and Judaism, and we all acknowledge it. And, and then you move forward with what you want to do. But if you don't acknowledge it, you're only lying to yourself. It's like they're different texts with different statements and people believe different things. That's like literally, and it's okay. In my opinion, I'm not offended by it. I'm more trying to figure out how to navigate it. So someone said the acoustic panel. Wait, where is that? The acoustic panel is mighty and lonely. Yeah, I have other acoustic panels. Just got the thing that I hang them up with. So I'm gonna put more on the wall. I know it's lonely. I have like 6 other ones that I'm so bad with like interior design. Although I will say my place is actually looking pretty cool. You only see this, but I'm working on it. I'm gonna put more down there. I just got to figure out how to do it because it's gonna stay there for a while. I don't want to make it sloppy. I'm not good at like, you see the clothes I wear and stuff. I mean, I'm fashionable and trendy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not a good interior designer or exterior designer, to be quite honest. Any design is not really my thing, but Thank you. Someone said you should stream a live table with free thinkers. Yeah, we'll do that. So I say cloth masks don't make sense, said Holly. Government should be making respirators available and masks who want to use forcing masks is the problem. I hear you. I think, in general, when the virus is in millions of people, you have to ask yourself if it's already in millions of people and in millions of places, is this strategy really going to be beneficial and work? And I've come to the conclusion that it's not, clearly. But, I don't, they're just kind of winging it. I mean, you go into certain places and you see what they're doing. It's like you gave these people too much power and they're just like, getting drunk off it. There's stickers everywhere. It's like, are you sure this is scientifically going to make it better, making me walk one way? Are you sure? Like, I don't think they're sure. I think they're just winging it. And it's why I lean more conservative libertarian now. The government does not need any more power. They always say they're going to help you, and they almost always do a bad job. And there's a reason. If you do a bad job at Amazon, I don't like Jeff Bezos, but if he does a horrible job and his service is bad, say what you want about Amazon. The service is fantastic. They come to your house in 2 days and deliver you everything you want for a cheap price. I'm not saying it's great. It has its flaws, but if they didn't do good service, they would go out of business or they would, eventually lose to a better service. The CDC doesn't go out of service. They control everything. The federal government doesn't go out of service. Gavin Newsom doesn't go out of service. He gets $1 billion next. They get money every year. If I could sit here and work my butt off 60-hour weeks, more than that probably, all year, but I could make 20 times as much money if I did nothing on a government side, I wouldn't probably do anything, but I probably would because I'm so motivated and ambitious. But 90% of people wouldn't do anything because they have no incentive to do anything. You're actually incentivized with government funding to broaden the cost. If you get $1 billion this year, but you only use 500 million, they're going to look at that and say, they don't need $1 billion. We're just going to give them 500 million. So you lose the money. So you're incentivized to bloat costs. With a corporation, you're incentivized to cut costs. They both have their pros and their cons, but there's a systemic reason why government almost always messes up. Fauci's been there for 40 years. Can they fire him? Is it even possible? I don't know. They're like, he could sideline him, but he can't fire him. It's like, okay. But all right, I digress. Do 2 more. We'll roll out at 11:30. 2 more minutes. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I appreciate you. If you want to support me further, the easiest and the free way to do so is sign up to my free email list. If you guys don't know, on YouTube or Facebook, my free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. All one word, no spaces. Stayintouchwithme.com. Free email list, sign up. I still haven't sent an email all year because emails are annoying. Even the Trump text is annoying. I signed up to it and I logged out within a day because they kept texting me. I'm like, leave me alone. So I don't even send emails, but one day I will send an email when I have something to say. Right now, I don't need to bother you. 10% off, 50. It's like, it's annoying. Sign up to the least annoying email list you'll ever be on, stayintouchwithme.com. And eventually I'll capitalize on that and it'll be a good day for everyone, or at least for me, hopefully for you too. If not, you could always unsubscribe. So that's all you got to do. Let's see. Kelly, God bless you. Let's see who we got. Kim said, you're so hot. All right, Kim, let's calm down. I appreciate it, but I do what I can. Mary Smith said, does anybody else get the feeling of a spiritual war going on? It is very spiritual, Mary. Stay blessed, stay safe. And before I leave, most importantly, don't buy into the fear. Don't be fearful. Do something about it in the sense of, if you don't want to, if you have your intuition tells you to do something, as far as, maybe you don't like the city you're in, whatever, that's something to analyze and see where you want to go. But don't buy into the fear, not of the virus, not of the left wing, not of the government, not of communism. Don't fear it. Fear weakens your immune system, weakens your body, and, will make you more susceptible to all sorts of bad stuff. So don't buy into the fear. Be happy. Have a beautiful day. Make the most of life. Even in these times of turmoil, it's still probably one of the greatest times to be alive. Even with all this nonsense, it's so annoying. It's getting so over the top. It's getting so frustrating, but just don't buy into the fear. Have a fantastic day. And we will get through this if enough people have that type of energy. So that's all we can do. If you could change it, change it. If you can't change it, you can't be mad at it. So all we can do is try to wake people up, try to get people to that headspace. But if we can't, regardless of if we can't long-term or short-term, we can't spend our days stressing over it and being angry about it. So things get annoying. I get upset as well, but have a beautiful day. That's the most important. And I'll be back soon. If you want to watch this video on Facebook and it's not there later today or tomorrow or the next day, go to my YouTube channel and watch it, youtube.com/anomaly hip hop, or just search Anomaly in the search bar. A-N-0, the O is a 0, very important. A-N-0, M-A-L-Y. You can watch it there. My BitChute channel is bitchute.com, bitchute.com/dreamrare, or you could just search Anomaly there, although the search engine is kind of crummy on BitChute, I'm not going to lie. And you can follow me on Instagram too, instagram.com/dreamrare, @dreamrare. And overall, have a good day. And yeah, you can watch this video if you want to watch it again. And it's not on Facebook, YouTube, or BitChute. That's where all or most of the live streams are. I mostly wipe them off Facebook because I'm in the algorithm on Facebook, and they share a lot of my videos and stuff as far as like, suggested. They haven't completely sabotaged me like YouTube has. So I would rather, if somebody's going to watch my video, although I love these ones, that's why they're on YouTube and BitChute. I'd rather people watch my shorter, more to the point videos, because it's way easier to understand and it's way more convincing and shareable than these ones. But they'll be there just on YouTube and BitChute. Have a good one. Facebook out and YouTube out. Bang.